Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
Celebrating 9 years of podcast excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. All in all, very good weekend of wrestling as we just wrapped up right now AEW All Out 2022 with an incredible storyline, the wrap of the night, which started with a casino ladder match. The mystery Joker winning the match, getting the poker chip, hanging above the ring. Stokely Hathaway's faction of stars now, and social media helped to connect the dots. The only thing was, were we going to find out if the Joker was going to be revealed at Dynamite? Or we were going to have to wait 3 days? No. Tony Khan decided, no, let's go ahead and reveal at the end of the pay-per-view was the right move. And the way they put it together, social media puts it all together. Listen, when CM Punk had the pinnacle and he took down MJF had the pinnacle and took down CM Punk, he even said, I am the devil himself. He's used that. CM Punk has used it in a promo which they played on the show. We heard the voicemail from Tony Khan. Man, I'll tell you what, that was a lot they put in there and really sold that so well that you got the crowd in Chicago tonight, almost 10,000 plus, that were cheering to the rafters for CM Punk to retain, to win back the AEW World Title after all the interim stuff. The idea was that CM Punk was supposed to go and have that belt back, and hopefully we're going to get the chance to see MJF and CM Punk eventually, whether for the title or not. Well, we're here. MJF not only reveals himself backstage, he comes out, gestures he wants the belt, and there we go. If you didn't think that MJF is a bona fide star right now, he is. He is the one right now among all the pillars in that company of all the young stars. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is, without a shadow of a doubt, a bona fide star right now. He's a star, like a WWE superstar. That's my opinion. I think he has built himself that much. I think that MJF on Dynamite confronting CM Punk, that has to spike a rating this Wednesday. I don't even see how it doesn't. They've been able to pull over 1 million viewers now. Well, if CM Punk and MJF, we get that storyline now going forward, there we go. And we're going to move along into this, and I'll tell you, I never thought this was all going to come out so well, and I never got the whole connected dots about Stokely Hathaway working with MJF, but I should have known better. I should have known that actually was going to happen. I don't know what I was thinking. We haven't seen MJF since May 29th. And he comes out, and there we go. Or actually, May 29th was when he goes, walking out of Double or Nothing. And we get this here, and I'm like, wow, man, what a turnaround. This was a very long night of matches, and they really did, Tony Khan did as much as he could to cover every storyline he has in the book. All of his current storylines were all covered tonight. I feel like I don't think they missed anything. Anything significant? No. Any major storylines were played through tonight. All of them. And it was really incredible about how much they did to cram into this night and some of the matches they had on. It was something amazing. For this show, you had 6 titles that were on the line tonight, 7 if you count the FTW Championship. And then you had stipulations for the casino ladder match. And I'll tell you, so much coming out of this. And you have personal feuds also embedded throughout. I enjoyed the show. I thought nothing dragged at all. I don't think anything dragged at all. And I think they actually did a pretty good job with the timing of what was given on the shows. And by the way, I enjoyed 0 Hour. I mean, I made sure to go and jump in front because he put a lot of matches on there. 4 really solid matches to start off the night. And then you go ahead and you get all the way into the show itself. 10 matches of its own, 15 matches in 5 hours. That's a lot. Wow. But we got everything here. It was all taken care of. I'm telling you, man. It's quite a feat. And it's interesting now that they have storylines in the mid-card that Tony Khan does put a lot of time into. And I'm wondering if there are certain storylines where certain stars will make it out stronger and bigger and better. And that's something you can definitely try to determine from what happens here. I'm just not sure yet. All I know is that the fans, especially if you are pro WWE and you want to go ahead and agitate yourself by watching AEW and just wanting to crap on the product, there are many of those people on Wrestling Talk and many people on social media that will definitely want to go and make their claim and talk shit. That's fine. Not on this show. Like I said, I do enjoy AEW programming. I enjoy this show. Slightly enjoying this show. You know what? It is 2 different types of shows. Because I can't compare Clash of the Castle with All Out. Can't do it. It's just different. For me, this is what Nitro and Raw used to mean to me, but we're getting 2 good products now. WWE has a very good product at this moment. You just need to work on their main event product and build from there. For AEW, I mean, they're definitely working on building stars, and they have really put together something special with MJF. It's just been like that ever since the beginning. MJF finds his way through. He is so over. And, I mean, guess what's one of the best responses there is? I mean, Tony Khan has to keep this guy on the roster. He is detrimental to the future of this company. Dare I say, MJF is the best heel in the business of everyone, of any company, all of them. He is the best heel. And he is one of the biggest stars now in professional wrestling to me. And then, of course, there's other names you can bring into the mix. You can talk about all the veterans they have with Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson, sure. But to me, something special about seeing how far they've gone with MJF. Another major storyline development, the reveal from one pay-per-view to this one, and the setup. I mean, Full Gear will be loaded. Will be fully loaded with a lot of different matches that will culminate as a result of what happened here. We got quite a few. Nothing I don't feel like in terms of storylines really wrapped up, except for maybe a couple. But we have storylines that will continue most likely, right? But I really thought that across the board, with everything that was going on, all the backstage talk, the palace intrigue that was going on with this company that everybody was talking about, it didn't matter to me as much at all. To me, I just thought they're working the situations as best they can. The shit with with Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara, the Thunder Rosa stuff, and why she had to drop the title. The things with CM Punk and Jon Moxley, all this stuff that was going on, that we don't know much of the backstage stuff that's really real. And I'm not one of those people that wants to speculate or gossip about it anyway. That's not what the show's all about. But across the board, I think storylines they wanted to encompass into this show were done well. Kind of interested in some of the outcomes they had, where Tony Khan is definitely steadfast towards certain stars. He does not like to pull the trigger on title changes or heel turns or turns for the most part anyway on shows like this. You can tell with the detail he puts through. I don't even know how he does it with all the other stuff he has to do, especially even just working with Ring of Honor stuff and trying to build that up while doing this show. I'll say that, it is very telling to see about how Dynamite sometimes might feel a little bit non-continuous, feels a little staggered, because there are some storylines that do not get the weekly exposure that we normally get on other programs. But this is why. You're talking about easily 10 storylines right now that he's working with. And he just doesn't want to give them time on each show. He wants to spread it out. And one of the things that's going to happen, pretty sure of that, is that he is going to struggle to make sure that, even though most of the stars he has that are former WWE stars that were future released and came over here, a good chunk of them got featured on this pay-per-view tonight. But you're not going to see them regularly on television. Maybe not so much on Dynamite or Rampage. I mean, I think there's a way that you could do it more, where some of these storylines could get more time on Rampage, and you could try to make Rampage much more a vehicle for storyline driving. I mean, some storylines are done from there, but maybe there's some other stars you can take over and put onto Rampage a little more often to continue, which I think would help with some of these storylines. But if you're watching Dynamite and Rampage, you're seeing a lot of what's going on here, and it was pretty well done. Now, starting off the night, we get a rematch with Ruby, Soho, and Ortiz up against Jericho Appreciation Society, Sammy, Guevara, and Melo. Interesting match, quick, and the JAS win. Hook over Angelo Parker and Action Bronson, who performs the theme for Hook, actually got involved. That was kind of interesting. And Matt Menard. So the JAS attacking Hook and Action Bronson coming out in the post-match angle. Pac over Kip Sabian. And a long match, by the way. Kip Sabian given a chance to really stand out on this show and recreate his character somewhat. And then I wasn't sure what they were trying to do with him now with the box on his head, and now he's talking to the box, and now they're creating a character that's more or less schizophrenic or has just a personality disorder. That's the story with that. Eddie Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii slapping the crap out of each other. Kind of a bit of a homage to what Gunther and Sheamus did the night before. But good match, and Eddie Kingston getting the win. That works out for me. I like that. And then into the show itself. So we get in the match, Claudio Castagnoli, Yuta, Penta, El Cerro Miedo, Rey Fénix, Arash Andrade El Idolo, and Dante Martin. I felt a little bit off put because there were points where Rush coming into the match and not going into attack and trying to catch up on Wheeler Yuta from grabbing the poker chip. That was a little bit off. They were trying to do things with the ladders, a little bit of some jungle gym type stuff, and Claudio Castagnoli having to push the ladder stuff around. That was a little bit confounded, right? A little bit off. Like, it wasn't a smooth match, but when you got Wheeler Yuta, Penta, Rey Fénix working around, and Rush and Andrade getting put in here, that one of the things for me is that La Facción Ingobernable, I wish they had more time to do things here. They've had their story with Death Triangle, and they're kind of working off of that. Thus, they want to put them in this match and try to encompass a bunch of different storylines here. And the Joker not knowing what it was supposed to be, but Stokely Hathaway brings out his crew now. And, really haven't seen the entire faction that he has brought together, all his clientele so far. But yeah, when you look at it, he now has the Gun Club, Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, and W. Morrissey. So, that's all been put together. And it looks like to me that we have another pinnacle in our hands. I mean, you could almost put them together in that kind of certain way, except for the fact that Lee Moriarty is a little bit off the path here. Ethan Page feels like the Sean Spears of the group. Colten and Austin are supposed to be the FTR. W. Morrissey is the Wardlow. And yeah, I don't know where Lee Moriarty fits in that, but it's an interesting group that Stokely Hathaway's put together. And we need to build that up somewhat. Where MJF is brought in here, that's the interesting part. What are they going to do with that? But I mean, MJF is the front and center. Was MJF just contracting with Stokely Hathaway and paying him off in order to go and put this together with contract money he got from Tony Khan to come and be at All Out, right? I don't know. Like, the match was kind of a bit of a wash to me. It was okay. It was definitely watchable. But the Joker part was what everybody was really stuck with, and we were like, what in the world was that? To start off the night. And sure, there were people already bringing up MJF mannerisms. We did not see Adam Cole, and I guess, is he still injured? I'm not sure. And no Colorado, because we'll have to figure out what the Undisputed Elite's going to be, because we know Bobby Fish has left, asked for his release, and most likely Malachi Black, they're saying, kind of had a send-off of his own tonight, and maybe House of Black will no longer be. I don't know what's going to happen, but Malachi Black, there's the rumor that he's supposed to be on the way out too, asking for his release. I don't know what to think of that. Then you get to the AEW World Trios Championship, 20 minutes for this match, and awesome match with the Elite, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks against Hangman Adam Page in the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver. This was really good. Hangman Page and the story with the Elite was the story of this storyline. And I'm guessing we have to get down to the point where Adam Page and Kenny Omega have to have a feud with each other, which is where all this is coming from. I guess we reignite that going on again without a belt. I guess that's where they go with that. And then Jade Cargill with a quick win over Athena. And like I said, Athena, I don't know if there's much to be said about how far she goes in the company, but she did have the issues with the baddies, and that's what really kind of was the detriment to her falling in this match. I mean, it's nice to see her here. I just don't know what she really fits into the whole gamut. And if she's somebody that will be considered higher up the food chain as one of the top women's wrestlers in that division, I don't know. But she's a good hand to have in the women's division, and let her go ahead and see if there's other feuds to put her in. But Jade Cargill, the She-Hulk character, was kind of interesting. But yeah, listen, they're definitely going to keep the rocket pack on Jade Cargill. She looks like a star. And, you know, she is getting matches in there and continue to be the champion here. She's doing enough to go and do well, keeping the matches short. She's fitting the role. And some people are going to agree to disagree that Jade Cargill should not be champion. I got it. I understand. But I'm still happy with where things are with Jade Cargill. I like the character. I like where they've gone with it. And the fact they brought the baddies in with her makes the biggest difference. It's kind of different than Stokely Hathaway just got brushed off. And Layla Gray is still part of the baddies anyway. I don't understand that part. They should kind of have some kind of a fostering, something to build a storyline off of that. We need to tell the story about why Layla Gray is still part of the group and why she's still involved, when obviously Kiera Hogan and Jade Cargill do not want her there. And as Stokely Hathaway, now that he's kind of moved along to his own thing, is there something that happens here with Layla Gray? I don't know what that is, but that's a small detail. Wardlow and FTR over Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns, and a hell of a good match. And it's good to see the MCMGs featured here. They look strong. Better off that they had to work the match with Jay Lethal than it was anything else. Wardlow feels like Goldberg out here. Wardlow's in a good spot. And FTR, I mean, eventually you're going to have to see them go back after titles at some point. We could really use some help now that we already have the trios title picture already kind of taken care of. That tournament's already is done. What I want to be able to see now is I'd like to see FTR back into the title picture somewhere, somehow. I don't know what you do going forward, but it was nice to see the six-man tag on this match. It was very good. Then you had Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, and Ricky Starks didn't get much in, but Powerhouse Hobbs strong in the victory here. And Ricky Starks, it's interesting what they did with him, where they let this guy have a bit of a losing streak right now, losing the FTW title, getting turned on by Powerhouse Hobbs, and getting dominated by the Powerhouse Hobbs as well. Does Ricky Starks get his heat back? That's what I want to find out coming up. I don't know if you can just finish off and that's where things go, but Powerhouse Hobbs, another pillar. And It's a matter of what they do with him next. What they could do, honestly, Wardlow needs to find some opponents for him for the TNT title. And I think Hobbs should be somebody that's going after that title. Because they're building him up so strong. I think down the line, that's something where you go ahead and see that going on. 22 minutes for Swerve in Our Glory over the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed they're super over. And that was great. And I'm not sure, but they've really been kind of doing the stop-start on the friction between Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee, and I'm not sure what they're going to do to split them off, but I think that's going to happen at some point. But it is too bad the Acclaim didn't get a chance to go and get this win here. I wouldn't have been surprised if they decided to go and pull the trigger on it. Maybe they're going to have another match anyway, down the line. Interim AEW Women's World Title. And seeing Toni Storm win this was the right move. If not, I would have hoped that Jamie Hayter had the chance here. Because I think there's a whole lot where, well, now we're going to see Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. They're going to have their head-to-head. That faction's going to split. That trio's going to split pretty soon. That's going to be something to go into next. And so apparently Christian Cage, we saw the brace on his arm, or his elbow, I guess it was. And that's why he didn't wrestle. Like, he went into the ring and he was out there, but he is injured. And so they decided to use the Luchasaurus character to go ahead and take down Jungle Boy Jack Perry and continue that. So we didn't get any payoff on there, and that's going to piss some people off. But Christian Cage is hurt. We now understand that. Okay. 23 minutes for Chris Jericho over Bryan Danielson, and Jericho getting the upper hand. We could see that feud going along. That's good stuff. I like that. And so we got 12 minutes for Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. Miro getting the comeback in here as a redeemer. I feel like the House of Black storyline has been kind of squashed. Like, the House of Black, I think it's it. I don't know what you do next. I don't know if Brody and Buddy stay together as a team with Julia Hart going along. I don't know what you do next. But at the moment, nothing. Like right now, if Malachi Black is gone, that sucks. But when you're talking about a bloated roster the AEW has, there's going to be some names that are going to get dropped off and they're going to have to go somewhere else. So who knows where they go? And if it's too bad that Malachi Black feels like there's some mental health issues that he's dealing with because of the strain and the stress and anxiety that he had about how the House of Black storyline never fostered and never fermented to where it should be. So I guess if the House of Black never became a top faction, all right. I don't know what to tell you. But there's a lot of names and a lot of people, vying for spots here. And they had a spot. Like, there's really nothing around the totem pole that tells me that AEW has a particular spot for anybody in particular. I don't know if there is. But they did what they did there. And then finally, CM Punk over Jon Moxley. They gave us the proper world title match. 20 minutes for that match. And CM Punk getting the win back. Interesting that they decided to do that 3-minute match 2 weeks ago on Dynamite. The shocking victory for Jon Moxley to become the full-fledged champ. For CM Punk to win it back. I didn't mind that at all. I think that short storyline they got to get the match for Moxley and Punk, get the heat back for that match was done well. Crowd was all into it. And they finished it up. When I think about the whole show, like I said, there's a whole lot of storylines going on here. And they're moving along with things, but, it is something about that I wish there was more things going on with the storylines where, I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of what the storylines are. Like, they're telling stories here. It's a bit better than Impact Wrestling storytelling. But for me, it's like, I wish the characters had more fleshing out. So we have more genuine interest in the characters as the storylines are progressing. That's part of the thing I think I have with this. And it goes across various factors. Like, when you have certain young stars that are accompanied by older stars, the Jungle Boy Christian Cage connection, the Darby Allin Sting connection. And trying to see where they're trying to go. Like, it's a lot to ask of some stars they've had here, and even still 3 years in, like the progression of some of these stars to become big. They hit pay dirt with MJF. And when you look at the other pillars, think of Sammy Guevara or Darby Allin or Orange Cassidy or Wardlow or Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, they definitely worked in some directions with them. But this is where something's going to happen to make some of these matches. Like, it feeds into the core audience great. But I think something like an MJF is what really goes across all barriers. And a lot of wrestling fans are going to be tuning into that storyline with CM Punk. Because people were invested into it last year. We're back into it now. Or even just the start of the year, as a matter of fact. And now we get to this year again. MJF is really once in a lifetime type of star. And there aren't many of the other pillars that really fit that role. Like, they're very good in the ring and they can do some work, I guess, on promos, but MJF is the standard bearer by which all young AEW stars need to strive to be. Men and women, they all need to strive to be MJF. He is the man in AEW. No bones about it. I can't make that even clearer than I just did. MJF is it. So he has another faction. And now he has another chance to go after CM Punk. And to see MJF culminate and win the title, whether it's a full gear for Revolution in February, it's got to happen. And this storyline had more than enough time to kind of flesh out. And by the way, because of this, MJF no longer has to worry about the Tony Khan factor. That part of the storyline got played out. A whole lot of tie-ins, a whole lot of connecting the dots, but it all connected. If there's a way to do more storylines like they did for MJF, to do that with these other stars. The thing is, some of these other stars, they are faces. Jack Perry, Orange Cassidy. I think of Ricky Starks. And then, like, you have some stars that have gone either face or heel when you think of Dante Martin or Daniel Garcia or others like that. Like, there's so much talent here, but the star making factor, it's the same thing that's going on with WWE about making stars. And AEW is doing it with some people that were never stars in previous incarnations, but making them important and impactful now. That they are doing that part. But we got to have a few more names that are really strong on the marquee. Dr. Britt Baker, without a belt, is a bona fide women's star. No doubt about it. Toni Storm winning the AEW Women's World Title, the interim. And if she wins over Thunder Rosa, will definitely make her a standout. And I think Thunder Rosa definitely is up in that spot. But Toni Storm would definitely be solidified if they decide to go the route. And Toni Storm beats Thunder Rosa eventually for that combined undisputed Women's World Title. Wardlow is really going to be a beast in the making, and they're doing all the right things with him so far. We need some more stuff going on. Like the whole thing, MJF, the rub he got off of that has stayed strong for Wardlow. He has been over so much. And now we have to get into the part where Wardlow has to have some featured feuds that are really going to escalate him to the top. That's another star they actually really have about close, ready to get somewhere. And things like that. And then you have factions that are trying to help with other stars within, which is great. It would be nice to see more of the stuff with the triangle more involved somewhere, somehow. Same thing with Andrade and Rush. With Andrade and Rush, it will be nice to see them get some gold somewhere. I don't know for what they'll get, but like we need something for them to get them involved too. Like there are some times where we need some of these titles to go into some other place. I don't know what to do with that, but Anyway, I enjoyed the show. Hell of a job they did tonight. MJF coming back. You just created a whole lot of excitement for what's coming up for that. And before I go and wrap things up with AEW, a couple of things on NXT Worlds Collide. I did not catch the pay-per-view tonight or earlier today. So what we got was Carmelo Hayes with the win over Ricochet for the North America title. Pretty Deadly is now the undisputed NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Mandy Rose now combines both women's titles, so now she's undisputed. Katana Chance, Kaden Carter retain the women's tag team titles. Braun Breaker beats Tyler Bate to be undisputed NXT champion as well. That's all that was done right there. And in the scrum following with CM Punk, a lot of stuff was going on. Punk went off on rumors saying that their executive vice president of the company spreading lies about him that had nothing to do with Colt Cabana no longer appearing on AEW. And then Punk went into the details about what happened with him and Cabana during the lawsuit and why Punk stopped paying Cabana. And also expressed anger at Hangman Adam Page. Also used the grass isn't always greener on the other side line for the guys, including MJF, who don't want to be in AEW. There's more to that. But overall, like I said, AEW did a good job tonight. And both shows really gave us some things to look forward to coming up on their respective TV shows. Like, the momentum is good on both sides. The MJF storyline definitely pulls a lot going forward coming out of this weekend. They did a hell of a job with that. And I will admit, I did enjoy Dax Harwood's daughter coming out. The whole fight like an 8-year-old girl thing, that was very touching and very sweet. I like that. I will make that point too. And we know that AEW Dynamite will have a 6-man tag team match with Best Friends and Orange Cassidy against Death Triangle. I forgot. Wanted to make mention of that. And we also have Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia in a Ring of Honor Pure Championship match, also set for Dynamite. And then again, we'll have the whole thing with the MJF CM Punk rollout, the fallout of that, and see where things go. So, all in all, enjoying AEW tonight, an A show for them as well. And I like both shows, Clash the Castle and All Out, for different reasons. I'm just a happy wrestling fan right now. I had good pay-per-views tonight, so I'm satisfied. All I'm saying is the same thing goes for AEW. They got to build some main eventers. I think MJF is now very much a main eventer, and they are working with some others right now that are on the way. The momentum has to stay on them, though. The pushes need to continue to be pushed. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That's my post-show coverage of AEW All Out. Thanks for listening in, as you always do. Come back this coming Wednesday, going on to Thursday, after Dynamite. I'll do another episode. We'll see how everything all pans out in the next couple of days. Great TV ahead. Come back for another Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. You can find all previous episodes at WrestlingIsReal.com or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at King of Podcasts, and search King of Podcasts on YouTube, or type youtube.com/JBRASCO951. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.